President of the Bombay Chartered Society, Anand Bhatia, Vice President Mandar Tilang, Honorary Treasurer, Vice President Zubin Velimuria. Since Mandar is visible more in the screen with both of you sitting together, Vice President Zubin, Honorary Treasurer Mandar, the Chairman of the Human Resource Development Committee, Mihir, the Program Coordinator Raj, and most importantly, my colleague, I would say, not my current colleague, but my friend Umesh Sharma, who's currently in the examination committee. When Raj approached me to take on this session, I said, okay, I'm slightly dated since I left the council in 2019. And what's currently happening, Umesh will be able to, explain what Institute is doing, how the examiners are reviewing the papers, etc. What are the inputs, the latest ones. Mine will be slightly dated. Having said that, I thank BCA for giving me this opportunity to share my views. And I always believe that sharing experiences always adds to one's own, I would say, learning. So first of all, friends, to the student friends, I want to congratulate you for taking up this course. And I very strongly believe that this is the best commerce course available not only in India, but in the whole world. Because nowhere else in the world, you can do two things. One is, of course, study academically, as well as have the practical experience of applying it, practicing. And I've got a very strong belief that unless you apply knowledge to practice, it's meaningless. The knowledge will be lost. What are knowledge? What are subjects you are doing? So it's like swimming. I can give you 1,000 pages on swimming. You do this freestyle like this, or a backstroke, or a breaststroke, or whatever other strokes are there. You may be a master of swimming by reading the 1,000 pages, but I'll just put you in water and just show me how to swim. So that is the difference of practice, vis-a-vis theoretical studies and practice. So I'm a very strong believer. And no other course in the world, I would say, especially a commerce course, not even in US, not even in UK, you can do your practical training along with the academics. So I think this course is the best. So one on the academic side, Institute keeps on revising its course to meet the international education standards, especially in the common subjects like accounting, finance. We are absolutely, online with the international requirements. And so it keeps on revising it. We keep on reviewing, we keep on revising. So academically, you're absolutely strong. Local laws, of course, you do corporate laws, you do direct tax, indirect tax, what is applicable in India. You may not do what is applicable abroad. But then transition is very easy. The third, thing which also Institute has done over the last 15, 20 years is, it was not done during our time, is added the soft skills part and the information technology. These two are very important parts. So please don't take it very casually when you do those programs of the Institute. That all is relevant for your career. So please do that. Friends, again, I want to thank BCA because I think I'm doing this session after 10 years. 19th March 2014, I did the session at the Indian Merchant Chamber when Naushad Panjwani was possibly the president of BCA. And November 2013 results, one of the worst results in those times, percentage, I think it was around 1 to 2%, not less than 2%. And there was a huge hue and cry amongst everyone that how can the result be so small? And so Naushad requested me, and I sort of took up that particular session. And after that, I am taking up this session now in BCA. But it is, I would say, I'm always happy to share that. So today, what are we going to do, friends? What we decided is I'll talk broadly. I think we have got the panel discussion of the excellent rank holders, AIR 1, 2, 3, who's going to be moderated by Vedant, Gada. I think they will go into absolute nuances, subject-wise, that-wise, whatever they want to share. And I will go more on the macro. So in my view, friends, the first most important thing, I think, for cracking CA exams is the attitude. I think CA exams are more than anything else a test of a mental strength. How our mind is made of, our mindset, our mental strength. So there is no room for any self-doubt. So many times people keep on thinking, "Aar maine sahi kiya ki nahi, sahi padha ki nahi," or just like that, detergent, uski kameez mere se safed kaise. In the sense, you always compare. Let's say if I was studying say 10, 12 hours or maybe 8 hours, and Umesh is studying 16 hours. So I'll always say, Umesh 16, so always that compare. So I would recommend, please don't have all those self-doubt. Each person is different. Each person's style of studying is different. So whatever is your style, be aware what others are doing, but please don't have doubt on yourself. have your own style. Also, the mindset is very important because many times in exams, CA exams especially, what happens is sometimes the unexpected happens. Some googly comes. When I say googly, the question which you're not expecting, a tough question comes in, and you're not able to answer. I have seen in those type of people where there are very, very tough questions, in my own experience and experience of a number of other people which I've seen. If you have got a positive attitude, you attempted that tough question, may not be fully successful, but if you attempted that and done other questions which you know properly, instead of, people doubt that they'll fail because of the googly, but people pass with reasonably good marks, 50, 60, 70 marks, especially if they attempted, because I'll tell you the reason why that happens. But what happens is the googly comes, you start, your mind gets diverted. Arey, बहुत खराब question hai, I have not been able to. So you get into negative feeling, and the next subject also goes bad. So again, my suggestion is, जैसे ही आपने paper दिया, कैसे भी, even if the tough question comes, assuming you're not able to answer that, leave it aside. Give answers to the ones which you know, and then go for it. And you'll see the results. You'll get you have to attempt the tough question also. You cannot leave it blank. If you have attempted the question, you'll definitely get grace marks. Because in the institute, in the evaluation, assuming something comes which is absolutely tough, or maybe sometimes it could be a little bit out of syllabus, etc. If you have given it boldly and nicely, even you attempted that, you'll get marks for that, and there'll be grace marks. If you're not attempted, you'll not get grace marks. So that's also very important. So you will get good marks in that. But because your mind is weak, our mind is weak, it also impacts the same paper as the next one. So mind has to be strong. Don't get bothered by the googlies. Give confidently, give nicely. Jitna aata hai utna likh do. Don't write wrong things, but attempt everything. You'll do well. Then I think the next, in my view, the most critical thing is many times what happens is while we're studying, we get so much bogged down, and the pressure is so much. How to study. But we don't take care of our physical fitness. What I mean by physical fitness, even during your study leave, say you're taking 3-4 months or 5 months of study. Now there's 6 months time available after your articleship to study for your final exams. Physical fitness has to be there. You need to go out for a walk. Just have a change of, your mind will get fresh, and you'll be able to, do better. Either walk, swim, gymming, whatever helps you, whatever releases those chemicals with you to reduce that boredom of studying. So at least half an hour to 1 hour, whatever you need to carve out for that activity, so that you get fresh for the balance part of the studies. Another thing which is required is a little bit of meditation also. When I say meditation, you can do anything. If you're a Hindu, you can do Gayatri Mantra. If you're a Jain, you can do Naukar Mantra. If you're a Muslim, you can read your namaz or whatever. That meditation will help you calm down your mind, and the study will be again back. So some part, some for physical fitness, and some part for meditation that you need to carve out, irrespective of whatever it may be. Then we come to the studying. It needs complete involvement, complete concentration. CA is not like a BCom or other study school, this, that, where even if whether you concentrate or don't concentrate, you'll pass. This is not possible in a CA study. So my suggestion would be, and what I used to tell people, forget examination leave. Even during articles, take it as a 3 year of a jail. You should avoid all other paraphernalia, but at least during the exam leave, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, no partying, birthdays, movies, your TV serials, OTT, cricket matches, IPL, all those will come again. Once you're doing a CA study for that 4, 5, 6 months, focus only on this activity, and all other things have to go out, because this needs concentration. You go out for partying and your mind will get diverted. So studying, physical fitness, meditation, these are the 3 things you do. Other things you should do. Social media. Today, I am a slave of this mobile. I can't do without it. But because I use WhatsApp, I use a lot of internet on this, etc. But you can't afford to do that. If you're appearing for CA studies, this has to be under lock and key. The mobile has to be under a lock and key. You should use your mobile only during a lunch time, break time. It should be not near you on your table also. Because what happens is, assuming even this is silent, and you're studying, so you're doing whatever, and suddenly there's a red signal, even if it is silent, mind will get diverted. Arey, kya message hai, kya dost ka message hai, ye hai, wo hai. So that is, I think, again, troublesome. It breaks the concentration, and your studies is not effective. So this you keep it and inform all your family and your friends that you're not going to see this. Do it till lunchtime or break time, and that is also very very minuscule. So this has to be there. Then comes to what I've also seen in studying friends is the students many times they study but they don't go to the depth of the subject. You need to understand in depth. CA is the exams require expert knowledge. It doesn't require you cannot be having superficial knowledge. So you need to go to the depth. Many times it happens. Say suppose you are in direct tax or indirect tax, and some companies that you're reading. Of course, now it is an optional, not optional, but you have to do papers. And so one reads mechanically or marks it. My suggestion to you would be please visualize where that section will apply. So I'll just give the section pertaining to loans and advances, section 185, 186, the perfect deposits. When you are reading, even if you're not dealing with the subject in your article, visualize how will it apply, where will it apply, and that knowledge will be very good. Other than that, I will tell you, you need to have break time. Say you have studied for 2-3 hours. You need to refresh yourself. You should go to have a break of a tea break and all. And ideally, Anand mentioned about his, intermediate results and finals. Let me share my intermediate results with you, friends. I was a massive failure in my intermediate. 10th, I had very good marks, 76%. Those time it was good. 12th, 68%. It was good. CA entrance, fantastic results. Come inter, my marks were less than 30. तो एक महीना तो मैं देवदास बन गया कि सीए मेरे लिए नहीं है, what I'm doing, this, that, रोना धोना, this, that, whatever. But after 1 month, I came to a firm determination that, nahin, what the hell, I'll show that I can do CA. So that helped. The determination is important after failure. So I'm talking of failure also, friends. Failure is not bad. But you need to introspect. You cannot carry on in the same manner. So I introspected what went wrong with my studies. So first of all, I was studying in my home. So typically what used to happen is, दोपहर में समझो थोड़े थक गए after lunch, and I used to tell my mom or my sister that let me sleep half an hour, wake me up in half an hour. तो जनरली घर में क्या होता है, अरे मेरा बच्चा तो बहुत पढ़ाई कर रहा है, बहुत मेहनत कर रहा है, आधे घंटे का 1 घंटा हो गया, 2 घंटा हो गया, पता नहीं को उठाता ही नहीं है. They have got that love, उनकी ममता होती है अपने लिए, so they don't wake you up. So I would recommend studying the library, number one. Number two, I observed myself when I introspected. That those days I used to write accounts manually for my eldest brother who used to trade in shares. And that made me look at the Economic Times. Those in Economic Times, few pages used to come in Economic Times, which had the share market prices. And I used to see the prices and see the movement. I never used to trade, but I used to get a kick in reviewing those prices. And I didn't realize that I used to spend 1 or 2 hours just looking at those prices. So the time wasted. And same thing is true for your mobile, for your internet, WhatsApp today. What was true for me that time. So if you have failed, failure is not bad. I have failed miserably in intermediate, as I told you. Failure, you introspect after that, what has gone wrong, where you're going wrong, and change your style. So in my case, I changed from my residence to, I went to library. My college is Podar College in Bombay. I used to go there and study. Have my lunch and then go early lunch around 10ish. I used to skip breakfast. There around 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, I used to go out for tea along with my CA friends. So some, my people who are giving intermediate or final as the case may be. And some issues you discuss over the break time. So you don't disturb others during there and they're studying. So break time is important. Another thing, friends, I want to tell you is most of you are joining coaching classes. No harm, it's good. But I would, 2 things I'll tell you about the coaching class. Despite coaching classes, why the results are not 100%. See, all of us, I do coaching, you done coaching. Why, despite that, we fail? That I think needs introspection. What is happening is that also we are doing mechanically the coaching classes. So, जो भी subject हो रहा है, say practical accounts है, financial reporting or financial management or whatever it is, the practical subjects. Whenever those topics are being done in the classes, you should have expertise in that topic. In the sense, not only what is done in the classes, you do it mechanically. Come back, solve some problems on your, and you have to be master of the topic. Once the coaching class mein ho gaya, separately aapka study karke, so that when you go for exam leave, at least that topic is perfect as far as you're concerned. So don't do the coaching classes mechanically. Please apply your mind. Pake mat jao, subah ke time mein fresh jao. Grasp, practice separately. And many people crib ke mera article mein ko padhne nahi milta hai. That's fair. I would say if you are serious, suppose once you're commuting in Bombay, a place like Bombay, people commute in trains, etc. Say 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1.5 hours. Use that travel time to study. You whatever you want to say. When I say reading, this, that, whatever. And other thing about coaching class I tell you is when it comes to a preference between attending the coaching class or practical training, please give more focus on practical training. Suppose audit hai, you are in the audit side of a firm, and if you are supposed to go outstation, don't lose that opportunity of going for an outstation audit, even if you miss some classes. And what advice I'm giving you, same advice I've given my son, the same advice I have followed. My son was a CPT student. He did his intermediate during his articleship and final during his articleship. Cleared in the first attempt. He hardly attended 50% classes because he used to be sent, which he was in a large firm, 15 days to, Jamnagar to do a refinery audit, then Khopoli to do some Mahindra audit, and 15 days, 20 days, just it used to go. So, but despite that, he cleared the exam in the first attempt. Didn't get a rank, but I'm happy that at least the practical experience which he has got is so valuable, nobody can remove it from your life. Theoretical reading without applying it practically meaningless. So I would give larger emphasis to practical training. So do that and you'll not regret. Rank में 1-2% आगे पीछे होगा तो चलेगा, but at least go more priority to practical training, whether it's tax, whether it is peak periods of tax, peak periods of indirect tax, or audits, or whatever else it is. Next, friends, is as you're aware, in final, what is required is expert knowledge. And you will tell, मैं तो सिर्फ audit में हूँ, how do I bring in expert knowledge in tax or in indirect tax or in other subjects? Or somebody is in the direct tax stream of a practice, how does he get expert knowledge in accounting and auditing? So here I would recommend what you do is something called knowledge management. Suppose you are in audit. So application of accounting standards or auditing standards, there are nuances involved. Say AS14, amalgamation or Ind AS, any of the Ind AS. What you read and what you apply, there are a lot of practical issues. There are nuances which comes up. So that is the advantage of practical training. So you have got some people who are in audit, some people who are in tax, some people in indirect tax. Make a group and check up with them what are the practical nuances of the theoretical part. Talk to them. So that is called knowledge management in the corporate world. So you also, how do you get expert knowledge? Suppose you are in audit and you want to get expert knowledge in tax. Check up with your colleagues who are in tax. अब classes में साथ में होंगे, library में साथ में होंगे. So बात करो कि tax में what are the current things going on? Whether in my times there was section, even अभी भी है deemed dividend section 222E or disallowance of expenses on dividend or whatever maybe capital gains में a lot of changes happening. So whatever is the current key thing, what are the practical applications thereof, have it in mind, so that will be good. So knowledge management करके whichever area you are not working in your training, you can get by doing knowledge management. Another thing, friends, is writing practice and mock tests are very critical. I failed my FY BCom economics exam first time because I didn't have any writing practice. मैं लिख ही नहीं पाया first paper. Economics was a theory paper. By the time I could, 2-3 घंटे हो गए, hardly 50, 60, 70% of the paper I had written. And in that time, I realized that I need to have writing practice. So before each exam, I used to have a writing practice so that your hands flow. And same way, you can give mock tests. I think people will speak about it. So this was broad the macro issues. I'll just very quickly touch upon. I think Umesh or maybe not the panel discussion, people will talk about planning. You need to plan your studies. There has to be a timetable. Very important that you have to manage your time. As I told you, even during articleship, you have to study maybe travel time, whatever time, weekends, whatever time you can snatch away from your work or your other, activities, focus on that. Break time we discussed. The study pattern, there are different study patterns of different people. One of the patterns suggested was to have a quick reading first time, second time, jot down notes, so that ultimately when you read for the third time, you know. So there's one style of study, but notes are very important. Whether you mark out in your study material or whether you write it separately, noting is very important. In case of practical subjects, you need to solve the problems. You cannot just read it. Not only during the time of your classes, but separately you need to, practice it and come to a perfect answer. So that practice only will make you teach. So you need to solve the problems. Then in the studies, you can, either make tables, flowchart, diagrams, use acronyms for theory, to help you remember, and cover all topics. Sometimes, like in BCom, ये topic छोड़ देंगे तो आएगा. Institute has got a habit. Whenever you don't expect the topics which you are left out, questions may be asked from that. So don't try to, be smart as far as leaving some topics are concerned. The last 3-4-5 exam में नहीं है तो भी नहीं आएगा. It's not like that. It can still come. And during the exam, the 3 hours, how are you going to spend the time, each question by question, marks in हिसाब से? If it is going to take substantially longer in completing, leave that question there itself. Finish other questions and then come back to that particular, leave some space and come back to that question. Your answer should be clean, tidy, minimal cancellations. Again, read the questions very properly. I've seen many students jump to the questions, and many times in CA, what happens is, what is so apparent may not be so apparent. If you read quickly and write some answer and actually answer maybe something else. So read the question very, nicely. Very important, friends, is avoid all pessimists or negative persons in your family and friends. Don't be near them during the study time. Always be surrounded by positive-minded people. During the exam days, friends, have proper sleep. You need to be calm and composed when you're answering. So you have a proper sleep during that time. With this, I would want to conclude. I'm at the end of this thing. I'll just conclude with few saying that I'm available for questions after Umesh gives his presentation. If you want to ask any of us. So मेहनत इतनी खामोशी से करो. मेहनत इतनी खामोशी से करो कि सफलता शोर मचा दे. Another Hindi saying, जिंदगी जीना आसान नहीं होता. जिंदगी जीना आसान नहीं होता. बिना संघर्ष के कोई महान नहीं होता. बिना संघर्ष के कोई महान नहीं होता. जब तक न पड़े हथौड़े की चोट, जब तक न पड़े हथौड़े की चोट, पत्थर भी भगवान नहीं होता. So even to make a god out of a statue, the stone has to be, hathoda has to be there. So you may go through various difficulties in life. So don't let it, impact you. So again, with concluding with the English saying, if you wish success in life, make perseverance your bosom friend, experience your wise counselor, caution your elder brother, and hope your guardian angel. Wish you tremendous success in your exams. Wish you good luck also. May God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nilesh sir, for the inspiring keynote address. It is always a pleasure to have you at BCS. I now request our distinguished speaker, Umesh Sharma sir, to give his speech on the topic Achieve Success in CA Exams, Face Failures, and AI-Powered Learning. Welcome, sir, and over to you. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon to all the esteemed members of Bombay Chartered Accountant Society, Mir Bhai, and today it's a very auspicious time for me to share dais with Nilesh sir, because Nilesh sir is my mentor, and sharing dais with sir is always very encouraging. And today, when we have a topic like this, wherein we are discussing exam related discussion for the students. So sorry for the technical glitch. And student, this is a practical example. When we prepare for exams, we don't get the desired results, and that same is happening with us. And nevertheless, for one of the saying is that come again means CA. So we are getting technical disturbance and we are coming again and going back. But yes, we have to continue in life. And this was one of the example that how to face the exams in spite of the difficulties. Thank you, Mir sir. Thank you, Nilesh sir. Thank you, BCAS, for giving me chance to speak on the subject. Friends, it is always a pleasure when our Guru is there. And my Guru, Nilesh sir, is there, who always guide us in the council as well as in my regional council time also. So when you have a good Guru, you will definitely be successful. And today, to discuss on this particular topic, that is success in the exams. Yes, it is a very relative term, but being a member of examination committee of ICI from last 2 years, I have seen very closely the process that how institute looks into the paper, how institutes looked into the mindset of the student, then the mindset of the examiner, head examiner, and there are near about 4 to 5 different departments which are working. We call them as the committees, wherein board of studies is there, which is always involved whenever there is a examination. Things are there. Then examination committee is there. Then in council also we discuss lot of things, that what type of syllabus need to be given to our students. And friends, this year 2024 was a very big transformative year for ICI students. Why I am telling this? Because May 2024 was the first examination under the new CRET, that is the new syllabus, wherein students are having 6 subjects, wherein self-paced modules are there, and also MCQs are there near about of 30 marks in many of the papers. And in final, there are 5 subjects plus 1 subject is the open book, where summation of all 5 subjects is there. So friends, when we looked at the foundation, final, and also inter result this time, they were not in line with the past. That was the biggest question which was asked to us being in an examination committee. Let me tell you friends, this was the first examination under the new CRET, new syllabus and new examination pattern. So don't compare it with the last, because the statistics of the past is based on the different examination pattern. Yes, this time foundation result was low, and many of us asked that whether institute is now going for hard entry and easy exit pattern. But friends, foundation, there was a business economics subject, and in that subject our students have failed very miserably. So when we analyze the results, we came to notice that in 11th and 12th commerce students, when they joined the foundation, few of the subjects were not there in 12th and they failed in that. So that was one of the subject where students failed. Then comes the intermediate result, which was a reasonably good result. And then came the final result. And many of us were also surprised that the final results were beyond expectation. And it was a very positive sign for many of the students, because they got passed out and they are now the members of our esteemed institute. So it's a welcome note for many of us. But there was also discussion that why final result was so much. So when we analyze in examination committee, then we came to know that the 8 subjects were there earlier. Now there is a 6 subjects. Out of that, study need to be done for 5 subjects only, and 6 subject is a summation of all 5. So student got lot of time. Also, there were few students from past examination pattern, and now they have to face exams in the new pattern. So they also got a good experience and they pass out with the flying colors. Yeah, it is also one point to be noted here, that one should not rely on the past examination passing percentage when they are facing for the next examination. Second change for 2024 is the September examination. For foundation and for inter, we are having September, and further we are also having Jan examination. So there are number of attempts which are increased. So there is a lesser time to prepare. A student who have failed in May, now they have to immediately go for the September examination. So there is a lesser time. So the student who is giving that September examination need to prepare differently, and the student who is giving examination of final, because there are two examination, May and November, they need to prepare differently. So rightly pointed out by Nilesh sir that don't compare your studies with your friends, because they may be in different pattern and different circumstances, different groups also. So please concentrate on your own studies. देखा देखी में मत जाओ, अपनी अक्ल लगाओ. That is one of the thing. And this time in examination committee, when we have discussed this change in examination pattern, we came to know that many of our students are still lacking in auditing subject. Nilesh sir, auditing subject, maximum students have failed. So that is a very big concern. And Nilesh sir has already given you some hints that whenever you are there in article shape, whenever you are doing audit, go through logic, apply that logic across the board. Please read what are the accounting standard, auditing standards, apply your mind in audit so that you can judge what is going to happen and how to report that. Because in our examination committee and board of studies meeting, we were very much concerned about the auditing subject. Now, when we come down to the pattern of examination and few of the points which I want to bring to your notice, friends, self-paced module. Yes, it started in 2024 with a bang, but we yet have to scale up to that level. There are some technical issues. There are some centers where facilities are not up to the mark, and we are coping up with that. But what is the feeling between the members and student of self-paced module is that earlier that subject was required to prepare 1 month for corporate law. Now the students are able to do it within a week or 10 days and go for self-paced module, and they are also getting passed. So MCQ based questions are there. So it is a very tough time for we all, that when a student is just preparing for exam, then how he will do it in a practical way once he joins a profession, either in practice or either in job. So dear friends, don't take it lightly, these two subjects of self-paced module. Please study them, because they are also one of the most important subject when you are going to face in your future life. So discounting self-paced module is also one of a concern for us, because students are doing it, and it's a truth also. But we are coping it with this, because we are now enhancing the MCQ bank, we are enhancing the question bank, and also the paper case studies that we are giving to our students. Then comes one of the important thing, that many time it is told that examiner has not checked my paper properly. I have written all the steps, I have gone through it, and I have not got the adequate marks. Friends, it is very, very important to note that कर्म करते जाओ, फल की अपेक्षा ना रखो. हमारे को ये देखना बहुत जरूरी है कि मैंने पूरी पढ़ाई की है और मैंने दिल से पूरा क्वेश्चन छुड़ाया है. ICI will never be interested to fail students. They will always give marks for the correct writing, for the correct steps, whatever it may be. It's all a computer-driven process. Yes, there are manual verification by our examiner, but the systems take care of many of the possibilities that we want to give benefit to the students. So benefit of doubt is always given to the student. Like in cricket, benefit of doubt is given to the batsman. The same way applies here also in our ICI examination. Then comes one of the very important point which I want to discuss with you all is UFM, unfair means. This time, surprisingly, we have noted that mobile and smartwatches were used maximum number and they were caught. So friends, please understand that don't take mobile, don't take smartwatches in your exam center. And this time, near about 30 to 40 students were debarred for 2 years from giving examination only due to this. And few of the students are writing, मुझे पास करा दो, मेरा ये नंबर है, मुझे कांटेक्ट करो. Friends, this is not the place where you should write this. I know the students who are listening, they are not thinking or they will never dare to do that. But whenever a discussion comes in your hostel or in your coaching, or there are groups of students or friends, please pass this message that UFM cases are taken very seriously and a small mistake can land up anywhere from losing your degree or using for not sitting in the examination. Friends, one more change we have brought in this 2024 is the results declaration pattern. Fail and pass has been removed and successful and unsuccessful has been brought in, and that have been done to change your mindset, to change your mind towards positivity, that yes, I am successful, but not to that extent. So I am yet to prepare for that success. So it's a unsuccessful if there is a failure. And we have got very good reviews, even our students, even members, when they have interacted with their articles, who were not able to crack the examination, the mindset was on very positive side. So friends, that was one of the change which we brought in. Another most important thing that we are now bringing in future also, and we always discuss that our systems will now give always a warning or a bell whenever there is a 0 marks given. So we are continuously upgrading our systems. That why 0? Because friends, as noted and also instructed by Nilesh sir, that you should write in answer whatever you know. That is very important, because we read, the examiner read the mindset and the logical thinking of a student, and accordingly marks are being given. So friends, please write down whatever you know. Yes, writing in a correct way and giving the correct answer are the key to success. But skipping a subject, skipping a paper, skipping a chapter is not the way a CA student should study. So that was few of the points which I wanted to discuss. Even I wanted to show to you friends the student GPT, which was launched by AI in ICI committee, and our students are using it. Near about 75,000 plus students are using it, but I am unable to show due to my technical issue. I am joining from mobile. Raj bhai, can you log into AI in ICI website? Because many of the questions of the student, like weightage of marks, like how to study particular chapter, how to study particular paper, what is the timetable for that, they all questions are, or many of the questions are answered by student GPT. I am unable to. Yes, can you go to CA GPT? Thank you, Raj bhai, for helping me. So friend, this is a beta version 2. Now you can scroll down to the members login and there is a student login. another in the side, there is a student login. Go in the student login, sir. Yeah, in the student login, you can put WRO number, WRO 0708202. This is a dummy number which I am putting here. Yeah. Then you can go to 0602 2002. Actually, this should not be shared, but friend, don't use this anywhere. Yeah. Now we come down. So this is a final course GPT, because this WRO dummy is of the final students. So if you are of foundation, the only foundation papers will be visible to you. If you are of inter, only inter papers GPT will be visible to you. And if you are of final, then only final GPTs are going to be visible. Now, friends, how we have prepared this GPT? We have given all the syllabus, all the weightage, past examination papers to this GPT. If we go to the first GPT, like we can go for the financial reporting. Yeah, click here. Once you go here, what is required is that you must have a ChatGPT login account. Oh, Raj sir, you are not having ChatGPT account. You must sign up first for your OpenAI account. Then only you will be able to view this, because we have tied up with a. So you will continue with Google. You can continue with Google. Yeah, use this. Okay. So friends, you need a OpenAI account, and from that you can connect to our student GPT. You just have to give your WRO number and your date of birth. So by that way, you can always connect to your student GPT. So thank you, Raj Bhai, for the demo. So once you open your ChatGPT account, you will be directly taken to the student GPT. You can go back there. Yeah. Now tick financial reporting. So it will open up the window with your account. So friend, this is the financial reporting. Now Raj Bhai, please prepare a timetable. Prepare a timetable of this paper for 2 weeks, or whatever weeks you want to study particular paper. And now just see the magic. It will give you a timetable, chapter wise, subtopic wise, and all the details that what you have to study in day 1, day 2, day 3. Detailed timetable will be given by this GPT to the student. So by this way, this GPT is your friend, philosopher, guide, teacher on your go. You may be residing in Mumbai or in a hostel or in Calcutta or Madras or wherever you may be. Near about 10 lakh students are there. We are a master in distance learning. So this GPT will help you to work on the knowledge resources of ICR with you, and this will be giving you a personalized experience. You can change your things and you can do it. So there is some technical issue of internet, Raj Bhai. Raj Bhai, you can type, please give me in tabular form with remarks. With remarks. So friends, this will be available, the complete, I think net is not working, Raj Bhai. Yeah. So this financial reporting timetable will be given to you in a tabular form with a topic, with a description and remarks, how to do it. I think it has taken something different. That is the financial reporting corresponding remarks. It has taken a different prompt, Raj Bhai. And one more prompt, Rajbhai, you can give. What are the weightage of marks? Yeah, timetable, they will get into tabular form. Next is, what are the weightage of marks? What are the weightage of marks to each chapter of this paper? So friends, you can come to know that what are the, you can stop the earlier prompt because it is a big prompt. So it is generating a big answer. Now you give a new prompt. Yeah. So what are the weightage of marks which are decided by ICI to the each chapter, and it is going to give you in a tabular form. So friends, by this way, you get the weightage chapter wise, subtopic wise also, and it is a range of the marks. So you can study accordingly and you can give your more time wherever you want to. So this is a very beautiful example that on Go, you will get it, you will get all the details. Now, Rajbhai, yeah, you can type one more thing. Which was the most difficult question of last exams related to this paper? And how I should prepare for it? Thank you, Rajbhai, for helping. It's a great help for me. And you must have a friend like Rajbhai who will help you in studies. So here, what is the difficult thing? Which are the questions where the students, that is Ind AS, there is a difficulty for the students for writing. So by this way, how you should increase, how you should practically study it, what are the problems, how to face, how to overcome the problems, why it was a difficult, everything is going to be communicated to you all students. So please use this GPT for whatever your subject you want. Now, very important point, these GPTs will be disabled when there is an exam of that particular paper across India. So this is very important disclaimer. Second, if you don't know Shakespeare, don't ask who is Shakespeare. This is very important. First, you must study the subject and then you should ask to the GPT, because the GPTs may make errors because it's always a technology. So please study the subject first on your own, and then you must ask the GPTs regarding what are your queries and get the answer test check. So by this way, the students are using this GPT for resolving their issues, for resolving their many of the problems. So Rajbhai, you can close the screen, and by this way, each subject GPT can be accessed by you. So Rajbhai, thank you. And the disclaimer is always also there. So thank you for Rajbhai for giving a demo of the GPT. Now, I think I have taken your lot of time. So now I am open for any questions or any queries of the students. Over to you, Rajbhai.
Thank you, Umesh sir. It was a pleasure to have you. And sorry, due to some technical issues, we could not have you fully. But this AI the chatbot which ICI has created is a very what we say very amazing concept, and it will be very helpful for the students. So I now any questions any students have, you can
Yeah,
please put it.
before that, one interesting feedback on this CA GPT, Rajbhai. On LinkedIn, I have seen 2-3 posts of few of our members, and they have said that it's a very amazing tool. Why it was not there at our time? because we have to reside in some city, then connect to some friend, get the question paper, connect to our seniors, and lot of issues were there. Had it been there earlier, it could have been much helpful to us. So very good feedback we have got.
Yes, sir. Means for when I was also I cleared my exam. If something of this sort would be there, it would be very helpful for me also. But we are using the members AI tool also, which has been used, and members are also benefiting from it. And we really appreciate the initiatives taken by the AI committee. Thank you, sir. And any students, if you have any question, please, the questions can be put in the chat box. Sir, there is one question. Sakshi Sanklecha is mentioned how to prepare SPOM exams during articleship.
SPOM, self-paced online module.
Yes.
Yeah, if you go and see the requirement of SPOM, it's an online learning. You have to do the compulsory online mm, what we call as lectures, that many of hours you have to spend. And while doing articleship, I think she is worried about the timing, that she has to online spend on the uh, learning module, and also in articleship. But what I want to suggest you that self-paced online module itself is self-paced. The word says that according to your own speed, you learn. So if you are busy in your articleship, take some time on Saturday, on Sunday, or in morning hours, or in evening hours. Take your time and learn it, watch it. It is online technological platform. It's note downs your number of hours that you have spent, and it get finished within that given time zone. Further, there are different slots available at different examination center across India, and these are all online slots. And we have tied up with NSE, so National Stock Exchange learning centers are there where online examinations are happening, and they are having a very good facility. And it's every week, even on working day or even on off day, the slots are available. Yes, we know in few of the center the slot get fill up as soon as possible for Saturday, Sunday. But we have to be on toe whenever the slots open. You can do it and you can crack it. So that was my answer, Rajbhai.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Students, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat box, or I think speaker would be happy to answer them. Sir, I have a question. If you don't mind answering, I'm not a student, but sir, uh, yes, Mansi, please go ahead. Yeah, Mansi, please unmute and you can speak.
So may I?
Yeah, please.
So I had a question. My question was, how can we leverage AI to save a lot of time and leverage AI for a better conceptual clarity? Like, for example, I'm struggling with a concept in direct taxation, and I want a quick revision session. If the AI bot can help me, do it quickly, because I cannot rely on myself. Otherwise, I would be easy on myself. I would choose light topics if I can have it with the bot. How do we
Yeah.
leverage that?
Yeah, Mansi, let me clarify. The GPT which we have prepared is based on your syllabus module. We have given all the knowledge resources which are available to the students from ICA. So if you want to have a quick review of your studies through GPT, that which subtopic of direct taxes or which particular chapter I should remember it, or how I should study in my revision, then you should give a prompt like that. If you give a prompt, then it will give you what are the difficult topics in that particular time zone that you have to study. But it will always a relative concept, or some question or a topic may be easy to you or some may be hard for another student. So you have to give proper prompt. It is just like talking to your teacher. जैसे आप आपके टीचर से बात करते हो कि मुझे बिजनेस एंड प्रोफेशन में पार्टनरशिप के टैक्सेशन के ऊपर इशू आ रहा है, सो यू पुट प्रॉम्प्ट लाइक दैट and that GPT will help you and give you answer in that fashion. So it will help you definitely, but with a rider that you must rely first on your own studies and then on GPT, because GPT is a tool. So if you are an expert, then you can use the tool anywhere. जैसे सर ने बताया पहले कि पत्थर के ऊपर हथौड़ा चलाते हैं तभी वो पत्थर भी भगवान बनता है, तो वो जो हथौड़ा है वो टूल है, और वो जो कारागिर है उसको वो कला है, उसको ज्ञान है, उसको नॉलेज है कि इसको कैसे चलाना है, तभी वो भगवान की मूर्त बनेगी. तो आपको ये टूल को कैसे यूज करना है ये आपकी कलाकारी के ऊपर रहेगा, नहीं तो वो पत्थर से और कोई मूर्ति बन जाएगी. तो वो टूल की गलती नहीं है, वो हथौड़े की गलती नहीं है, उस कलाकार की गलती है, ना ही वो पत्थर की गलती है. तो प्लीज रिमेंबर दैट.
Mansi, see, basically
Yes,
on the this conceptual clarity, I think you'll have to work on your own. AI, again, as Umesh is saying, is a tool. It will give you ready-made answers, but whether it will be able to solve your conceptual clarity, I would say fundamental knowledge as we call. So, for example, you're finding one particular, so that's what I said, the knowledge management is very critical. Say you're not in the tax area, you are saying audit and you want to get some knowledge in tax. So either talk to your principal or some friends who are doing on the tax side and get that conceptual clarity. And then AI is a tool how to, harness it. I don't think it will give you all the answers. So that hard work will have to be done by understanding the subject. AI will be helpful in, I would say, accessing the relevant information at the relevant time. But I'm not too sure whether it will give you the clarity which is required. For example, say I'm more on the audit side or accounting side, say accounting standards 14 or whatever on the mergers, what is controlling interest, or how do you change in the consolidation when an associate becomes a JV or a JV becomes a subsidiary. So a lot of things are not there in the accounting standards. Unless you apply it, you will not come to know. So for that, you'll have to practice, get the knowledge. So this tool will be easy. Okay, you have to track something in AS14. Where is this written? So that will be very easy to trace that, etc. So I'm not too sure whether AI will help you getting fundamental clarity on various things.
So my question here was,
Mansi,
you
just one
yes.
point. So I agree with sir that it would be difficult to get, conceptual clarity on points. But usually, or when I have a doubt on certain concepts when I'm working, what I try to do is I put it into a chat GPT or a perplexity and just put a prompt saying, explain this to me as if I'm a 5-year-old. While this will not give you 100% clarity, this could in some way help solve your doubt.
That was very helpful, Vedant. Thank you. And
Yeah.
Nilesh sir, yeah.
1 minute, Vedant.
Yes, sir.
I will request to give that prompt to the student GPT, not to the chat GPT open source. Please
Sure.
understand that chat GPT open source will get your answers from the web data. Whenever
Correct.
you refer to AI, so you have to think of D3. So that is a formula which I have developed from my AI experience.
Sir.
There is a formula D3, A3 and H3.
Okay.
What is D3? D1 is your own data that you are giving some your own answer sheet and you are checking it. Yes, it can, if you write an answer and give PDF, it will check you and give also marks also, but not if your handwriting is गिचमिच तो वो नहीं पहचान पाएगा.
I
Hello.
think we lost.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
so D2, so D2 is ICI's data and D3 is web data.
Okay, sir.
So this is your input. So D1 is your data, D2 is ICM in knowledge resources study module, and D3 is web data. We have disabled D3 in our GPTs. We rely on our ICI data. Now comes A3. A3 is what? A means audit AI tools. AI tools which are free. AI tools which are paid is A2 and A3 is your own tool. So students are not having paid versions of GPTs. So if anything is free, then you cannot rely on that. But if they are having paid version, like our members, we request our members to have paid version of OpenAI Chat GPT, which costs 2,000 per month only. And now most important that ICAI has done in AI tools is H3, the output. So we talked about input, D3 data. We talked about processing. That is the which tool you are using. And now comes most important is H3. Being a CA, being a student of a chartered accountancy, the output must be first H1, honest. Then it should be harmless. And then third is helpful. So being a member, being a student, you must analyze whatever output is coming from whatever AI tool you are using. It should be passing these three tests: honest, harmless, and helpful. If you pass this test, then whatever tool or whatever AI you are using, whether in exams or whether in practice or whether in job, you will be having good results.
Understood, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the input, sir.
Thank you, Umesh sir. I think it was a very excellent explanation for the query regarding AI. So, Nilesh sir, any final, any closing comments?
No, I think that's good. That's good. I gave my closing remarks early, probably.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Umesh sir, and thank you, Nilesh sir, both of you for sparing your valuable time. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your insight.
Now let us go forward, and I would like to invite Vedant on the panel along with all the rankers. We have got a lot of AIRs amongst us. We started this few years back, wherein instead of having just a session or a motivation session, we thought of inviting rankers to share their journey and how they have cracked it. And all these rankers are recent rankers, so they would be they will be absolutely on top of their game, and they can really help you a lot. So keep this a very interactive sessions. You can keep adding your questions on the Q&A session, and Vedant will take up the appropriate questions for the panel. Vedant, before I hand it over to Vedant, will be formally introducing the moderators and the panelists. So yeah,
Nancy will be doing it.
Yeah.
Very good evening to all of you. And I am Mansi Limbacha, and I am here to introduce the speakers and the panelists for the next session. So this is a very important and a very landmark session in the history of BCAS, wherein we are inviting all the top rankers of the very recently held examination of the May 24 exam and the final examination, AIRs of the final examination. So here we have CA Shivam Mishra, the first rank holder, AIR 1, and he also has a spectacular quality over here because he has a record-breaking percentage of 83.33%, which is the highest ever in the history of the CA examination, the May 24 exam. And a very peculiar trait is he is a rank holder at all the three levels of the CA examination. Currently, he is working in one of the big fours of the statutory audit domain, and he is also a very active content creator, wherein he shares on all the social media platforms. He shares his insights and views on different topics. Then we have AIR 2 with us, Miss CA Varsha Arora. And Miss Varsha Arora also has done her articleship from one of the big fours. and has been a rank holder at the foundation as well as the CA final level. Another peculiar trait of Miss Varsha is she is rank holder 1 in her college in BCom honors in the Indraprasth Women University, Delhi University. And this highlights how our panelist has been academically consistent throughout her journey. Then we have AIR 3 with us, Miss CA Kiran Manral, and she has done her article from one of the big fours. She has given her intermediate exam, if I'm not wrong, in the November 20 attempt, right? And the November 20 attempt has been a very challenging throughout because of the COVID and the other very mentally taxing and extremely difficult one throughout the academic journey of each and every one of us. So I think this was a phenomenal display of patience, which also highlights to us that irrespective of any hurdle in our lives, we can do our best. We can overcome all challenges. She is currently doing her industrial training in JP Morgan in the investment banking domain. We also have with us Ghilman Saalim Ansari, a very highly motivated and with an academically strong background. He has a peculiar and particularly good interest and experience in the real estate industry during his articleship. And for his personal fun time and energy, he was playing football, a very good work-life balance he promotes. And he also believes that we need to stay energized, can be done physical activity. We also need to leverage our physical as well as, mental competence and activity. And we have our moderator, CA Vedant Gada. He himself is a rank holder in the CA final examination at the level, cleared all the 3 levels of CA final examination, CFA exam, CFA examination. He has also taken a management development program from IIM Lucknow, and he also is a member of the board of studies for accounting subject in the Narsi Monji College of Commerce and Economics in Mumbai. So I'm very glad to be a part of this introductory team. Thank you for having me and wishing all the best for the session. Thank you. Handing over the...
Yeah, so before we start, only one instruction from my end. For the best experience, you can go on the top right on the view section, select gallery and select hide non-video participants, so that we can have the moderator and we can have only the moderator and panelists on our screens. That would be the best experience to have this session. Yeah, over to Vedant now.
Yeah. Thank you, Rajbhai. Thank you, Jigar-bhai, and thank you, Mansi, for the lovely introduction for the whole panel. So first off, I would like to welcome all the 3 of them. Just a note, Varsha has not been able to join us today because of certain unavoidable circumstances. But welcome Shivam, welcome Kiran, and welcome Ghilman. It's a pleasure to have all of you, and it's a rare sight to have all the top 3 rank holders at the same place at a time. So to get on, I would like to ask a question to each one of you all individually. That is, what led you to pursue CA? So years back in commerce, CA was kind of an absolute choice, but today with the kind of options that are available in commerce, what was that deciding factor for you to choose CA over the other courses? Over to you, Kiran.
Hey, hi everyone. Glad to be a part of the panel today. Yeah, so Vedant, like you mentioned, what motivated me to join CA. So I think at that time I had joined classes after 10th, joined commerce, used to go to college and classes in 11th and 12th. Being in that background and seeing our faculties who had done so well, seeing our teachers in college who were from a CA background, I think that was the main factor that motivated me to maybe a few years down the line, I saw myself enjoying that kind of professional life, right? So that was one of the major factors. And apart from that, being in a commerce background, I think bookkeeping back then, I liked the subject a lot. So I knew that accounts was a comforting subject for me. So something that I would like, I wanted to join a course that would allow me to learn more about that aspect. And it's not just about accounting. When you choose CA, you know that you get to learn about these many different subjects, right? So I think it gives you exposure to accounts, to finance, to taxes, and then after once you've cleared CA, you get a chance to decide what you actually want to pursue. So it opens a lot of doors, and I think that's what motivated me to join this course.
Thank you, Kiran. Over to you, Ghilman.
So, hi everyone. Thanks for me having in the panel. So, the reason I joined CA was that after 10th, I had a lot many peers and seniors who had been joining science. So, I thought of doing something different and I took admission in a commerce college. And after that, after 12th, I had to make a choice like which field should I choose. So, when I searched it up on Google, there were many opportunities available like CA, CS, law, and BCom, MBA after BCom. So, I thought that since I have to take one degree at least, so I will pursue BCom, and along with that, I will also start preparation for CA exams. So even if I'm not able to clear the exams, I will have a lot of many career opportunities, and I will not be missing on anything. And when I entered this CA field, I realized that it's something which really interests me because the subjects that we had, like starting from accounts, costing, taxation, audit, and all of this really interested me, and I'm really liking the journey of being a chartered accountant. So that's the reason I joined CA course.
Thank you, Ghilman. Yeah, over to you, Shivam.
Yeah, thanks Vedant for inviting me and having me on the panel. So what motivated me to do CA initially, my plans were to do BCom honors from Delhi University and then pursue MBA. But when I was in class 11th and 12th, I developed a very keen interest in the accounting subject. And being a commerce topper and a school topper in class 12, the CA was the very prestigious choice in terms of money, or you can say fame also, and respect the society you will get. So there will I decided to do CA, and my tuition teacher was also a chartered accountant, so he was also kind of a motivation for me. And from there, I decided to do CA, particularly along with the BCom honors.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all three of you all for your questions. Since a large number of the attendees are people who would be sitting for the exams in November, let us dive into questions related to the exams. Later on, we'll also have some other questions related to other aspects of your journey. So for first question is for you, Ghilman. Since for those not aware, Ghilman is someone who's done a complete self-study for each and every subject and did not take classes. So what was your typical study routine like, and what material were you relying on?
So a lot of my preparation started in the last 5 months before the exams. So we get a 5 month study leave from our articleship, and that's when I started preparing for the exam. So the thing is, uh, yeah, so during those 5 months, I made sure that I have to study the entire day. So my day used to start at 6 in the morning and it used to end like 9, 10, 11, 12. As time passed, kept on increasing. So I had to make sure that I am at least studying 12 hours a day. And for the talking about the resources, I relied mostly on the institute study material, because I've seen the trend that institute usually ask all the questions, or at least 70% of the questions, from the study material. So I used to refer that. And apart from that, if I'm not comfortable with a particular topic, then I used to search that topic on YouTube, and there are many revision videos available for the students. So if I'm not able to understand something, I used to search it up on YouTube. And there are also some other free resources like summary notes, which was very helpful for me during my preparation.
Understood. Yeah. Thank you, Gilman. So, for the others, I do understand many people take up classes, so to speed up the preparation. And I'm sure Shivam and Kiran, you all must have also thought of classes in the same way. But when you all took up classes, what was the material that you were relying on? Were you relying solely on class notes? Were you all relying on institute material as well, or solely on institute material? Shivam, you could answer that first and followed by Kiran.
Yeah, so during my classes phase, I studied from the teacher's material only, because at that point of time you are doing lectures for 2-3 hours and you don't have very much time to refer the other materials, because ICA material has a lot of content, and there is a very short time during the articleship phase. But when I got study leave for that 5.5 months, I prioritized, my main priority was always ICA study material. So what I did is I did cross referencing, that whatever material I am following, it covers all the ICA content and the concepts. So I did cross-referencing to make it comprehensive, so that I do not skip any of the topic, because institute is going to ask from the ICA material only. Even if they ask new question, the pattern is also same like the questions in the ICA mat. So main thing is you focus on that. And concept note, you can also refer whichever you are comfortable. I'm more comfortable on the study mat portion, so I decided to rely on the ICA study mat for the majority of subjects.
Yeah, Kiran.
Yeah, so I think for me too, I try to complete most of my classes with my articleship. During that time, the books offered by these faculties were my main source. I think what is important over here is to ensure that you more or less stick to one material. And since you're putting a lot of trust into one material, what I made sure for myself was that material should be extensive. I did have a look at the study material and ensured the ICA study material, and ensured that the book that I was referring to covered questions from the study material, and say additional questions which could be past exam questions, RTPs and MTPs. So yeah, I think that is very important. And if you do stick to one material from the beginning to the end, I think it helps a lot, because you have that comfort over the book, and you can make notes over there. And eventually, with multiple revisions, I think you get a very nice idea of the kind of questions there are. Maybe sorting, what I used to do was sort questions as A, B, C, which one I was able to tack easily, which were the more difficult questions that I needed practice with. So yeah, I think that is important, sticking to one material that has to be extensive, and relying on that.
Very well put. So what I can see is it's a common thread, and that I also come across with all other rank holders as well, is stick to a common material, but ensure that everything in the study mat is covered, and if possible, make study mat your Bible. Yeah. So moving on to the next question, Kiran here has done her articleship at JP Morgan, and among a lot of people doing articleships, there's a question around whether I should opt for an industrial training or not during the last year. Will it impact my studies or not? So, some insights from you, Kiran, on that front. Those would be helpful.
Yeah, I think so. The most important factor to decide over there would be one's personal goals. For me personally, the first part of my articleship I spent in the statutory audit domain. That was my first corporate exposure. Got to learn a lot, but somewhere I knew that this wasn't something that I would like to pursue in the longer term, which is why I wanted to explore the industry part. So that is where the determination to go for industrial training came from. Then I did shift to industrial training. I knew that the hours were going to be difficult and it could impact my studies to a great extent. But yeah, that was a challenge that I was facing in Start Audit 2, honestly. And the kind of exposure that I was likely to get in this profile was a lot. So there was a lot to learn, right? So I did join the industrial training. The hours were tough. So my weekends I used to get time to study during the weekends, but on weekdays, the hours were very tough. The minimum I tried to do was I couldn't spend the 3 hours in the morning to do the lectures because I had to reach office on time. So I at least tried to do 2 hours of my classes before going for the office. Went to the office every day. There was no fixed out time as such, so it could stretch for about 10 hours, 12 hours a day. If there was any time left after my office, I would try to complete the rest of the portion over there. Or else, a lot of the things that I was not able to cover during the weekdays, I would just sort out during the weekend so that I was able to achieve my weekly goal. So that is how I planned.
Nice, very nice. So now, Ghilman, question for you. How did you plan the last 5.5 months of your study leave? Or I would say let's stick to the last 3 months of the study leave, because a large part of the audience today would be at that stage right now. What was it in terms of how many days were you allocating a subject? Were you doing more than one subject a day? Or what was the time that you had allocated for revision for this for the subjects?
So initially, as I planned, my plan was, so during those 5 months, I will cover the first trading part in say 3 or 3.5 months, and I leave the last 1.5 months for revision. However, it didn't really go as planned. So as I approach my third month, I realized that I have a lot to cover yet. So I focused that first thing, my first priority should be cover the entire syllabus, because if I leave a particular topic and there's a high chance that that may be asked in the exam and I am not able to answer. So that was my first priority, and I after that I ensured that I will cover all of these topics again in my first revision. And because of that, I was only able to revise only once, but I made sure that one revision I have completed everything. And a- a- at that point I realized that quality is what matters as compared to quantity. So it doesn't depend on how many times you are revising. So during those revision period, I used to make a schedule like daily I have to cover 2 subjects. So usually in the morning time, our mind is fresh and it's easier to grasp the difficult subjects. So I used to start with a subject which is difficult for me. So for me, audit and AFM were the subjects which I found difficult. I used to start with those subjects, and as time passed, as the day passed, so during the evening time, I used to be a bit tired. So after taking a quick break, I used to start the subject which I like. So I liked IDT and some topics of DT. So in the second part of the day, I used to study IDT and DT, as my articleship domain was also taxation. So it was easier for me to grasp that subject. So in such a way, I used to plan my day, and accordingly, all the subjects used to get covered in those 3 months or in the revision period. And I also went through the RTP and MTP, the new questions that were being asked, and that's how I prepared during my last 3 months, I would say.
Okay. What about you, Shivam? What revision techniques did you use, and any novel techniques that you use that you could share with the audience here?
Yeah, so for revision phase, that most of the people will get around 5 or 5.5 months leaves. So what I make sure that my classes are completed at least 5 months before the exams. So I got around exactly 5 months to just self-study. So I initially planned for whole 5 months. So as in articleship, we are very good at Excel. So I prepared an Excel tracker for my study plan where I planned whole 5 months. Then I had planned for a particular month, then a weekly plan, and then daily planner. Then in that I used to write what actually I have to do a particular day or a next day, which I see on the morning and the night also, whether the target is achieved or not. So that minute level of planning helped me to achieve the all India rank. And what I did is I planned 4 revisions in that 5 months. And during my first revision I gave around 15 days to a particular subject. Then in second revision I gave 8 days. then 5 days, and last revision was 2.5 to 3 days. And that 2.5 to 3 days helped me to reduce that syllabus and complete the entire syllabus in that particular 1.5 day. So these were the specific strategies that helped me in during my revision phase.
Thank you. I agree planning is very important, and I'm sure a lot of the people out here, all of them are also planning how to attempt the exams, but not all plans go as per plan, and there is always a backlog. So Kiran, if that were the case with you, how were you approaching this situation?
Right. So I also had a major plan in mind. I got around 4.5 months of study leave. So had a broader plan in mind as to how I will approach. Then divided it majorly into 3 revisions. Then for each revision, I divided it again subject wise. So I would take up one subject at a time. Goal for each subject would be to cover the entire subject in say about a week or 10 days, and at the end of that period to give a test to see how I am performing, right? But what would happen as I dived into it was how I planned these 7 to 10 days was to cover divide the entire subject into ABC. So A category topics I would focus on first, but these were the larger topics, right? So it would take a lot of time, and then say a 10-day plan would move to 12 days or 13 days, right? That was a challenge because that would affect the the time I would have for my last revision. So I think having a control is very important. So I do know that maybe if I've taken up FR first, I had only 10 days to give, but it took me 12 to 13 days to cover the subject, right? So I would first focus on finishing FR. I would do written practice and focus on the quality. So I would never compromise, even if it took more number of days, but I would never compromise on the quality of the subject. Once that subject was done, my immediate next step would be to alter the plan for the future, right? So I would take into consideration the time that I have left and accordingly divide and accordingly plan my next move. So I think being in control of the overall strategy of the time that you have left and the portion that you have to cover is something that helped me.
Understood. You mentioned about categorization of topics into ABC. So how were you categorizing them into an ABC? Was it based on the difficulty as felt by you, or was it based on the marks allocated to those topics, or was it based on something else?
Yeah, so it was majorly based on the marks, how scoring how the marks allotted to each topic based on the past exam trends. So there's a lot of data that you can get from faculties online on YouTube on the ABC categorization. So there's no need to do something on our end, right? There are a lot of resources available that can help us do this ABC categorization.
Understood. Okay, next question for you, Shivam. How helpful were mock tests for you? Did you give any mock tests? If yes, were you relying solely on ICI mock test papers, or were you relying on third-party test prep as well?
Yeah, so mock test played a very important role in my preparation. I gave 2 mock test series from a third party, and I also wrote the ICI mocks as well, the test series 1 and 2 as well. So in that mock test series also, I gave during my second revision and third revision. In mock test series, they also used to release a rank list where I was a rank 1 and 2 in that list also. So I was sure that I will be able to pass this exam even if I don't get a rank. So that kind of motivation or confidence it gave me, and also because of the mock test, I was able to complete all the exam papers in 2.5 hours time frame. So that particular strategy, if you write a mock test, you get a confidence that even a new question comes, you will be able to handle that exam pressure. Because if you directly go to an exam hall, it will be very difficult. I have seen people panicking and they are not able to write the questions they have already practiced before. So that writing mock test will definitely help you in the upcoming exams and to ace the final exams.
Okay. Yeah. Ghilman, a question for you here. How did you approach the last 1.5 days before the exam? Because most people, what they do is they struggle with completing the whole revision in those last 1.5 days. What did you follow there?
So first of all, it's not really possible to cover the entire syllabus in the last 1.5 days for all the subjects. So for subjects like DT, it's not possible. So one thing we can do is I used to mark the questions which are of unique nature and which carry high weightage. So let's say if you are talking about DT, then I used to mark one question per topic. Say let's say business income. I marked one question which covers all the adjustments of business income. And for DTAA or and similarly for trust, I used to mark those questions. And I in the last 1.5 days, I only covered solved those questions. So that's how I made sure that I have covered the entire syllabus just by solving limited number of questions. And similarly, as earlier said, that ABC analysis plays a very important role. So I analyze the past trend and for those particular topics that are definitely asked in the exams, I made sure that I touch on those topics and I covered them.
Understood. Yeah, thank you, Gil. A very good point at there with DT, because I also followed a similar approach wherein I would have one master question for the whole chapter, which would cover everything. And also, if it is of help to participants, one thing that I did during my DT preparation was all the heads of income that we had studied in Inter, I would always keep them last for revision, so that you've already studied that thing over the last 2 3 years. So if at all, even if you miss out on that, there are high chances that you might recollect all of those things in the paper. So now moving on, Kiran, uh, since multidisciplinary, this was the first year for multidisciplinary case studies as a compulsory subject. How did you approach it? Um, how did you prepare for it? What was the study material that you carried to the examination hall? Because we could see people with two, three bags.
Right. So for me, initially, there was a lot of uncertainty regarding how we need to approach this subject. So like I mentioned, I had divided the entire, so say for the first revision, if I'm spending around a month or 1.5 months for the revision, I divided it into 6 subjects. So say a week or so, maybe for IBS too. But how it turned out is the first revision was too early to go into that subject, because again, neither me nor my peers had any idea about how to approach it. So that got deferred to second revision, and then ultimately when I picked it up, I think during March or April, a month or two before the actual exams, right? So I only spent around 3 days for the subject. So what the important aspect over here is that it is a combination of the other subjects, right? When we are already studying, we have already done maybe a revision or two for FR, AFM, and audit and all the other subject. We don't need to put any additional hours into IBS from that perspective, since that part is already covered in our other revisions. What we need to tackle over here are the new subjects, especially for people who are from the new scheme. That is law and costing, right? I never touched these 2 subjects before. So my goal was clear. I need to figure out how to approach the paper during the 4 hours that we get. So how to solve the case studies, getting a comfort over the paper pattern, and then getting comfort over subjects like law and costing. So if you see, the past trend costing is only a small portion of the entire 100 marks that we have to approach. So again, among costing and law, I prioritized law. So this 3 to 4 days that I spent on IBS, the first day I spent on getting a comfort over law. So I watched revision videos and tried to read through the chapters. Now covering a big subject in one day is very difficult, but revision videos helped me to get a sense of the entire topic really fast. Then again, here I focused on the major topics of FEMA is a very big topic and difficult to understand in such a short time. So I skipped that. But there was also this index that I read to get an idea over what are the major topics and then subtopics over there, right? So this is how I approached law. For costing, I did not really spend a lot of time because I didn't have that. Then the second part of the revision was of the IBS revision was I had this case study digest again, which I had purchased. So just read the new case studies that ICI had released to get an idea of what kind of questions are being asked, practiced a few practically, which included seeing the questions, taking out my modules and trying to find out the answers myself so that I'm able to do that during the exams too, right? So I think that is all overall how I approach the subject. And it was, on the day of the exam, it was pretty straightforward. I was already done with all of the major 5 subjects, right? And this was an open book test, so fairly simple, for fairly straightforward. On the day of the examination, I had seniors who had previously attempted IBS in the previous attempt when it was not compulsory. Their suggestion was to carry all the materials that I had. So that included my study material, all books from the classes that I had taken. So yeah, I was also one of those people carrying 2 to 3 bags to the examination hall, but it really helped. I think the indexing and even during the in the exam hall, I had arranged my book subject wise, so I knew that if it is an FR question, this is where I get my book from. This is the chapter that I need to pick. Yeah, so that helped.
So question to you, Shivam, in those 4 hours, how did you manage to make best use of the study material that you had, that being an open book test, and also attempting the question on hand? Because lots of times with open book examinations, what happens is people lose a large amount of time finding the answer rather than, writing the answer, even if they know it through memory.
Yeah, so I also carried around 30-35 books, all these study mats, question banks, and the teacher's concept note also. So I arranged my desk. The desk in front of me was empty, so I arranged all the books in that particular desk. And for me, I was able to identify from which page the question is asked. Since I already done 4 to 5 revisions, I was able to memorize or recall where the particular concept is written. So I directly, and the strategy for attempting this paper, you have to attempt the case study wise. Like I've seen people, what they are doing is they have took FR of particular case study 1, then 2, then 3 by leaving blank spaces. You don't have to do like this. Attempt a particular case study with a time frame to attempt in a particular 1 hour only. And because each case study is of 25 marks, you cannot skip that. You are investing 1.5 hour or a 2 hour on a particular case study. Even if it is a repeated case study, devote only 1 hour to a particular case study, then jump onto next case study once the 1 hour complete. So I was able to complete all the 4 case study in 3 hours only. And what you have to do is start with the particular MCQ. And though the paper name is integrated, but the questions are not very integrated type of. Suppose they are asked a particular question, will be able to identify from which para it is this. And you have to identify para, and these are generally from the ICI study mat directly. And you are able to identify from which portion or which chapter the question is asked. And for me, it wasn't any difficult to find where the concept or question is written. Maximum questions were directly from the ICI question bank, or you can say the test your knowledge questions. And there were a few, 2, 3 new questions which you are able to solve on the basis of concepts you have already studied. So this was my strategy for IBS.
Got it. So Ghilman, question for you. Since MCQs, we did have MCQs in some of the papers earlier, but this was the first attempt where you all had MCQs in all the papers. How did you go about preparing for those MCQs? Did you rely solely on ICI material? Did you do something else? Or while making your study notes, were you focusing on something or keeping in mind that this could be a question for an MCQ?
Yeah, so while I was preparing for the subjects, I didn't do anything special while preparing for MCQ. So what I did is I made sure that all my concepts are very clear, and even if a question is asked in the MCQ, it's gonna be a breakup of a big question which is already present in the study material. So for DT, IDT, and audit, MCQs were already there in the previous attempts also. So for that, I went on the ICI BOS portal and I solved the MCQs which are available there. And during the exams, I realized that most of the MCQs were asked from that ICI BOS portal. So it was easier for me to solve those MCQs. And coming to the new subjects like FR and AMFM, this was the first time where MCQs were asked in those subjects. So I relied solely on the concepts and questions which are already present in the study material. So I practiced those, And even the questions which were MCQs which are asked in the exams were a small part of the main question. So the only difference being we don't have to solve the question in entirety and write the steps. We just have to mark the correct answer. So that's how it went. And if one is comfortable with the concepts, there is sufficient concept clarity, then he will be able to solve all the MCQs well.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a question from the audience around what are the qualities that a CA student must have in their journey? So Ghilman, if you could just list out a few of them.
So the most important thing is patience and consistency. So CA journey is very long. So for me, I would say it started in 2019 and ended in 2024. So a complete 5 years of consistency and patience is what it requires. Second thing is managing the work-life balance. So while you are doing your articleship, so in those 2.5 years before the exam, you have to manage both work and also you have to take time for family, friends, for personal life, and also manage studies with that. So that's something which is very challenging, and managing time is very important for that. And consistency is important because if you miss say few days, if you stay away from studies, then you will tend to forget what you have studied before. So that's why revising constantly and preparing throughout the journey is very important to succeed in exams.
Oh, thank you. Gilman, there's another question, and I'll have you only answer it because you answered my previous question on the 1.5 days. There's a question around how do you study audit in those 1.5 days? Because sure, even as Umesh sir mentioned, audit is something that most people are scared of. So yeah.
So okay, so for our attempt, we had 3.5 days for audit because of the elections. We got 3.5 days, but institute also made sure to make the difficulty level of the exams to such a level that so all this 3.5 days work paid off. So for audit, what one can do is what I did is was in the last 10 days before the exam, I revised audit once because I'd say it's a completely theory subject, and if you study it as late as possible, you will tend to remember a lot of it during those 1.5 days. So that's what I did, and I made some short forms and mnemonics, short stories to remember the answers. So in those 1.5 days, it will be easier. You have to just remember the keywords, and you will tend to recollect what that story means and where for which question that answer is.
Thank you. Question for you, Kiran. I don't know if you've faced something like this, but lots of times what happens is when you're sitting in front of the paper, you face a blackout. Has that ever happened with you? And if yes, how did you deal with that situation? How did you maintain calmness in that situation?
I think I wouldn't call it a blackout, but like Gilman mentioned, the audit paper was really challenging. So audit and I think IDT for us were the two major challenging subjects. For IDT, we did get a lot of time to prepare, but again, when it comes to it, those 3 days also don't seem sufficient. During the paper, we get the first 15 minutes to figure out which questions we need to approach. Again, what I used to do during the 15 minutes time was figure out what questions do I know the best, like which questions am I most confident about, since I would be approaching those questions first. So that is what I would figure out and then decide the sequence in which I would like to answer, right? With the intent to gain the maximum marks initially, and then I can dedicate the last few hours to the remaining answers, right? But what happened in audit was that if a question has, say, 3 sub-questions, so in every major question, the problem that I was facing was there was say a 5-mark question that I didn't know, right? That was completely new. So that was a challenge. But again, what I did is went on answering those questions that I was very confident about. This must have taken me about 1 hour. right? Then moved on to the MCQs. Even the MCQs for audit paper were difficult, but they don't take up a lot of time because there's no practical solving aspect to it, right? So either you know the answer, you take the answer, or you don't know, you make a guess, right? Completed the MCQs part and then went on to the other part of the paper, which I was not very sure about. So it was challenging, but I think what helps is uh, an exhaustive coverage of the subject. So in order to, I had prioritized a few sections of the entire subject, but I tried to cover all of the chapters, right? So I had at least for each, even if I was not very confident about a particular subject, which was asked about a particular topic which was asked in the exam, I at least had some idea of what the answer could revolve around, right? So that is what I did. So if there's any question and I can identify the topic related to which it has been asked, I just jotted down all the points that I knew about the subject just to be able to gain the marks that I could over there. So I think that is what worked for me. I was not very confident about the marks that I'm going to get. So I didn't think that I would get an exemption, but I ended up scoring 66, which was better than my expectations. But I think spending a lot of time during your initial revision helps ultimately while you sit and write your exams.
Okay. Shivam, a question for you. When you're on your study leave, those 5.5 months, you sail through those for the first 2 months very easily, but as soon as you enter the third month, it psychologically starts feeling like a jail because you're sitting there doing the same thing for 12 to 14 hours. How did you handle that pressure? What kept you going at that point of time? And were you practicing something outside, or were you engaging in any physical activities to help you cope up during that time?
Definitely, that 5.5 months is a very prolonged period, and there will be phases of the where you get exhausted at a particular point of time because you are not able to solve the questions you have solved 2-3 times also. So there will be phases like that, but these are of very short period, like 2 or 3 days maximum. For that, what you can do is you can talk to your friends for 15-20 minutes who are also preparing for finals to get an idea that you are not the only one who is facing these kinds of issues. So I also had 2 or 3 friends, so with whom I used to talk in every 6 or 7 days, so to keep myself motivated and also to sit with the family for a 15 or 20 minutes. And talking about physical exercise, like I used to walk for 10 or 15 minutes daily. And I also have a interest in like online games, so I used to devote 1 hour to online gaming to play with my non-CA friends so that I can be
You get out of that.
out of that CA phase for a particular period of time. So I used to play daily, and it never became a distraction for me. And it is a kind of motivation I used to complete all the targets of my day and then play for 1 hour. Because the pattern of CA final exams is not that you have to complete a 15 or 16 hours study. It's about the effectiveness. I used to study 8 or 10 hours only for that whole 5.5 hours, but what unique thing was in my study plan that during 150 days I took only 1 day break. I was consistent from starting December to the 16th May when I wrote the final exam. So you have to maintain a consistency. Hours doesn't matter. You don't have to complete or a study for 16 hours a day. 8 hours is also a sufficient time. I also did in 8 hours and I got a rank 1. So you can also do that. And even if you get distracted or your effectiveness is less or efficiency is less, you can sit for 12 or 13 hours, but you should devote at least 1 hour or half an hour to do an activity you like, but it should never become a distraction for you that your study should not get hampered because of that particular activity.
Thank you. So, Ghilman, how did you ensure your first read was both effective and efficient? What things did you have in mind to ensure that?
Sorry, can you please repeat?
So, there's a question around from the audience on during your self-study, how did you ensure that your first study was both effective and efficient? That you could do it, because what happens is many times the first read, while you might have allocated a 10 days or 12 days for that study, it just gets prolonged and people get stuck in cycles. So what did you do to ensure that you do it in an appropriate amount of time, and you do it in such a way that you have got that quality and you don't have to go for a quantity?
So the first thing is, if you are not able to achieve your targets, then it's very normal that you have to cover it somehow. So even I had a target in mind that I will complete a particular topic in say let's say 10 days. But if I'm not able to complete, there's no option left. You have to complete it in next 5 days or next 10 days. So accordingly, you have to revise your plan, and for the other topics, you have to devote let's say less time and try to cover it more efficiently. So there were certain topics like AFM where I took a lot of time because it's something which requires proper concept clarity, and questions are very different. So I used to ensure that I have proper concept clarity, and even if it takes time, I used to make sure that I've completed that particular topic, and then only I can move to the next topic. So if I'm talking about a subject where in which I'm strong, let's say IDT, so I used to spend less time on that subject so that I can cover all of the topics in a, let's say, short period of time.
Yeah, thank you. And so when, let's say, you've mentioned AFM as one of your difficult subjects, when you would get stuck on a particular point and you wouldn't get any help or you would not understand it, how did you approach it? Did you contact your friends to get it solved? Do you go to just YouTube to watch those lectures?
Yeah, so there's a lot of free resources available for those who are either self-studying or those who have taken classes but are not able to understand a particular topic. So on YouTube, if you go and search for a particular subject, you will find a lot many revision videos from many faculties. You can just go through that, and there are also timestamp in the comments. So if you want to search for a particular question, you can just go through the comment section and find that particular timestamp. So that's how, if I'm stuck in a particular question, I would go to YouTube and search that question and understand how it is solved or what's the concept behind it.
Okay, thank you. Question for you, Kiran. We saw the use of the ICAI student GPT earlier on in the session. If it were up to you, how would you use it in your preparation?
Yeah, so I think personally, for me, uh, I think I personally did the last 5 months self-study matters a lot, right? But if someone is looking for maybe resources or like you mentioned getting stuck earlier, maybe that is one of the things they could explore. If so, for me, I did have access. I had a study group of 1 to 2 friends. So I would post my doubts over there and would eventually get responses, even if not immediately. I had access to that, and lectures on YouTube and all are also available. But I think that if one does not have that kind of support, maybe going online and figuring out those doubts out through ChatGPT GPT bot is something that could be explored. Yeah.
Thank you. And I think our time is almost up. I'll just ask Shivam a parting question. Uh, Many people in the audience are giving the exam again. What advice would you like to give to them so that they are able to be successful in this event, this attempt? And a second part of this is, if you look at your past journey and if you had to change something in your prep, what is that one thing that you would like to change?
Yeah, so or during my initial days of articleship, I didn't study properly for 1 or 1.5 years properly. So what though I completed my complete entire syllabus in last year phase, but I would recommend everyone to start classes timely so that you can complete classes before going to a study leaves. These are for students who are initially going to the articleship phase. And second thing is for those who are stuck up at a particular stage, what they can do is main thing is they have to change their material or follow any material, but make sure they are following ICA material. What you can see is that during May 24 exams also, the 10 to 15 marks question were directly from the latest RTP. I've seen people neglecting RTPs and ICA MTPs. So focus on complete. Make sure you are completing all these study material questions, RTP questions, MTP questions. Even if you cover these only, and institute generally don't have a very bulk of questions, there are very limited questions. And if you are able to solve these for 3 or 4 times, you will surely pass this exam. And talking of from MCQ point of view also, for FR, AFM, there is no need to practice any specific booklet or a MCQ from the market. You have to just make sure that your concepts are properly clear and you will be able to solve those MCQs, because what institute is doing in FR and AFM specifically, they are drafting MCQs from the descriptive questions of their study mat only. So for that you can do this. And for audit subject, DT and IDT, solve MCQs available on the ICI BOS portal. There are only 15 or 20 MCQs for a particular subject, and if you are able to solve that particular MCQs, you will be able to manage the MCQs in the final exams. And MCQs plays a very important role in when you are calculating your complete marks, because descriptive there are very less chances that you will be able to score very good marks in a subjects like audit. That their MCQs plays a very important role. So keep your materials proper and ensure that whatever material you are following during your first revision, you are keeping it same to the last revision. You don't have to think that there are various books in the market, you can refer this or this. And also what I have seen that people's asking doubts on Telegram groups and wasting times on Telegram groups. You shouldn't be doing that. And for even if you have a doubt on a particular subject, refer to a revision videos of a particular teacher you like. There are various free revision videos available on the YouTube. So these strategies can help you and stay consistent and focused. Target of getting completing 100% syllabus. Always follow ABC analysis during your revising strategy or revision strategy, but ensure that you are completing 100% syllabus. I have completed 4-5 times 100% syllabus. You can also do that. So these things I would suggest for a person who is appearing in the for a second or a third attempt. By following these strategies, you will be able to clear these exams in the upcoming attempt.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Shivam. Thank you, Kiran. Thank you, Ghilman. Thank you for all the insights that you all have brought out. Before we give the handle back to the organizers, on a lighter note, just one question. Uh, has that feeling of becoming a CA sunk in yet? Because I'll tell you, for me, even last month when I was at a place, they asked who all are CA students, and even I raised my hand even at that point of time. So how has that feeling sunk in yet?
So I don't think, not really. After the results, everything was moving so fast. So there were, even during that time, there was not a lot of time to register and take it all in. And even now, I think, yeah, the situation is similar. It still feels like we're the same CA students, just looking for jobs right now. But yeah, I think it will take time, and but it has been great since the results came out. The feeling of becoming a CA. It will take time to register, but it has been great. Like all the hard work that we put in, it feels like it was all worth it.
Yeah, Gilman and Shiva.
Yeah, same for me. Like, still, I feel that in office also I am promoted to a senior level, but still feels that I'm an article or a staff accountant only. And the feeling has been amazing. The MDP also scheduled 1 week after the results. So we didn't have very much time to get that we are now chartered accountant or think about that. But after getting a rank, there are so many benefits, like our office is in Cyber City. Random people come to me to congratulate me. So the feeling has been amazing, and it also feels great to be a chartered accountant after putting so much of hard work for the 4-5 years. So yes.
Nice. Yes, Gilman.
Yeah, so it was a similar experience with me that after the result, things were so fast that it took like say 2 weeks or 3 weeks to finally realize that yeah, I have completed CA. So when I joined this Zoom meeting, I saw my name, right, CA Ghilman Ansari, and that's when I realized, yeah, I am also CA now. So I'm not used to it, so it's something that will take time to digest.
Thanks. So all the best to the three of you, and all the best also to all the participants who've joined in today. And yeah, that's the end of our time. Thank you.
Thank you, Vedant, and thank you, Shivam, Kiran, and Ghilman. I think very wonderful panel discussion we had. A lot of effort has gone into the entire this panel discussion, but I appreciate the way it was conducted and the answers which were given. I think all the student participants would benefit out of this, and we will be uploading this video. We have recorded this, and whoever listens to this on YouTube also will definitely benefit out of this. So very much, I'm very much thankful to all of you for agreeing to participate in this panel discussion. And at one call I made to all of you, and everyone agreed. There was no saying that I'll get back to you next time or tomorrow or that way. Immediately everyone agreed. So thank you for that, and we look forward to have you for future events at BCS. And we want you to be associated with BCS throughout your life. It would be a pleasure to have you, and thank you for that. Thank you.